How you
Yeah.
doing?
How are you? Long
I'm
time
doing
no
really
see.
well. I know.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm doing really good. I'm out in Colorado right now.
I know,
My
I heard.
yeah, in
Rocky
my last
Mountains are your view, huh?
right. Yeah, I get to see that every morning. I wake up.
Man,
So it's
don't
pretty
you
cool.
miss the flat plains of Detroit?
Kinda, not really.
Just playing. How's it feel becoming a veteran?
It feels really good. I'm not going to even hold you.
That's
It's really
awesome.
good.
That's
Especially getting the DD-214 is like, oh, this is my golden. This is the real golden ticket, right?
that's the golden goose right there. So, how do you feel about the Veterans Affair from being a newly veteran?
Um, I honestly, I have not really used the services like that, to be honest.
Okay,
I
okay.
yeah, I only the only time I used it was I had to sign up for the uh, the the healthcare.
Okay, and their healthcare
Yeah,
recently has changed,
right,
so with the passage of the new acts, the Mission Care Act that they did, so it
right,
changed from you being able to see private providers and things. Because when I was, a young vet, none of that was happening. You had to take your old broke self straight to the VA. Like, it was none of
right,
that. If you were either at the VA or you didn't have nothing. And
right,
I think that, them crossing over with that private industry was like a good thing for you guys.
right. Yeah, and I'm super happy that they had the opportunity, well, the thing to do the crossover because I feel like that's very necessary. Because I know a lot of people um, were, and rightly so, complaining about how crappy like it is to get
I'm
healthcare. So,
telling you, I remember 2011 first getting out of the Marine Corps and going from, the California Veterans Affairs system to going to Michigan and our, John Dingle. And I'm telling you, like, it was night and day. Not only was like there a surplus of everyone not knowing what they're doing, there was like a surplus of backlogged paperwork. Like there was no way that you can get in to even see these doctors. So for them to
right.
even like broaden their network, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's important too for like veterans and people who are in the military and like not in the military currently to like talk about that stuff because I think people say I feel like, and I'm not the type of person that's like, oh, like gung ho about the military, but people always say like they're super supportive of military when it comes to actually supporting military and
Oh
veteran
no,
people.
listen. I completely agree with you. When it's time to stand up for a troop, where are they? You know what I
Right,
mean? Like Wounded Warriors program is it. How do you get into it? Because I've been
right,
trying for years. Okay, like and at the same time, we have these separate entities like the DAV and like the VFW and these things that work with veteran affairs, but they're their own separate entities when we can all just get them all together and be like, look, if y'all could just all
yeah,
work together as a one unit, we wouldn't have to have a VFW to fight for my VA rights. You know what I mean? Like
right,
it's
right.
the bureaucracy behind all of it is just so crazy.
It is bizarre, the bureaucracy, and I haven't had to navigate that too much, and I'm happy. I'm kind of in a privileged position to say that I don't have to navigate the bureaucracy of it, but I'm happy I don't have to navigate it as much as
Well,
other
I
people.
mean, as a veteran, there will come a day where you will. So,
That's
I'm
true.
telling you, and like, especially those that transition out now, like, I really want them to know, like, don't have the plan that they want for you. Have a plan on your own. Like when I got out, I thought I was going to follow their plan when they send you, through your transition period. Like, oh, I'm just going to do what they tell me to. Marine for Life got my back. Oh, you got to be careful about those
Right.
motards and what they tell you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
Yes. Absolutely.
it's a second recruitment when you get out.
It really is, and people don't talk about that either.
And
People
that's
don't
the
talk about
most
the second
important
recruitment.
thing because when you leave mommy, daddy, Marine Corps, you have no structure to fall back on.
Right. And you have to, and it's kind of like you're trying to balance like who's really out for my welfare, who's really trying to work to make sure I'm like not gonna fall on my face when I leave mommy, daddy, Marine Corps house. You know what I mean? Because that's a whole new game. It's a whole new game, especially if you. I don't care if you was in 4 years. I know a master sergeant who was in for over 20 years or something like that, and messaged me not too long ago, was talking about like, I don't know how to navigate. Like, people don't look at me the same. Like he retired as a as a master sergeant.
Yeah.
And he's like, people don't treat me the same, and he's like, I don't know how to deal with that, because in being in the Marine Corps,
Oh no!
I had all the time.
Not only do you have to navigate your civilian life, you know, a newly transitioned veteran, you have to navigate your own feelings of where's my power gone? Where, you know,
Right.
the power struggle. It's like now no one knows how to treat me when everyone was expected to treat me this way, you know, like,
Right.
and those traditions don't follow on to American society today.
No, not at all.
And I mean, like, they think that thank you for your service is all they need to say, and they're off the book. I mean, like, if I got, you know, like any type of monetary or financial or economic value out of thank you for your service,
I would be rich.
I'd be rich and more than rich. I'd be wealthy.
Right.
Okay, so stepping off Mommy and Daddy Marine Corps, because you know how much we love them. Oorah. We know how much we love them. I'd like to speak with you about the structure of capitalism, because, you know, us going, you know, from the inside in, we have an insider's view, you know,
Yes.
and I just want to share this small story of capitalism that I have with you, and I know you're going to find it funny. Okay. So we're outside of Myanmar, Burma, you know, and they had this horrible cyclone. 1,300 people died. It was horrible. We're going in to give aid. You know, their Jutna, or, you know, their government wouldn't let us touch boots on the ground. So basically, we floating around for 45 days just making water for people who need it. Yeah. But when it was time to put the water on the aircraft, what they did was they took away the aircraft's camouflage by painting a red, white, and blue flag right on the front of it. And I'm just like, really? Are you serious? Like, is this what we really stand for? Like, America did this for you. Like, capitalism at its core. You know what I mean? Like, not foreign aid. Like, we can't get foreign aid. You knew it was us. We was there anyway. But you have to paint a flag on our camouflage gray aircraft that we use so they could hide in the sky to fight the enemy? Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. That's capitalism, imperialism, all the things that we can talk about that's like, just give the people what they need. Literally.
And they never received that aid. They never received that aid. It's probably what caused the most PTSD from them. I mean, like, they never received the aid. So it's like, not only were you trying to do a political play, you didn't even play it, you know? Right.
And there's it was just symbolism, and that's what it is too. It's just the symbolic notions of like, we are America, this is what we do for people, but behind the scenes is not really what's going on, truly.
Truly. And I mean, like, that capitalist structure, you know, it's going to tear us all apart. It's torn apart families, the divorce rate being what it is. We can blame that on financial, you know, institutions being what they are. You know, it destroys livelihoods. You know, it destroys us being able to survive. You don't even have to have a family to be impoverished and have a 40-hour work week and still can't make ends meet.
Exactly.
And then, you know, what really kills me at the end of the day, the capitalism that we all say that we build so much in America so great, our infrastructure was taken from us. You know what I'm saying? Our actual buildings, bridges, roads. Like, you go to other countries, they look nice. They believe in infrastructure. We used to believe in infrastructure, and for some reason, they spend these budgets on any and everything except for what we need.
Exactly. My question to you is how I can sense that you are very anti-capitalist, right?
In a way.
So can you describe your
Okay, so I do understand that capitalism is the structure that our country is founded on. It is built around capitalism. There's no way that we can really escape it without finding a new system. So without destroying the system, you have to create a system. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't found a system yet to replace it. So I'm not anti-capitalist. But I do
Okay.
not believe in the invisible hand ruling the market. I don't
Right.
believe in all of the oligarch that goes on, with the American, corporations.
Right.
I don't believe that corporations should be counted as human beings. I don't
That's,
believe
oh
that they
my
have a voice.
God.
I don't
Yes.
believe that they should, I think that there's a lot of things that we did for corporations that we have not done for people. And I'm not
Right.
talking about people in other countries. I'm talking about people here in this country. And
Yeah.
corporations, don't get it wrong. They need help too, but not the help that human beings do. And they
Right.
shouldn't have the voice, and they shouldn't have the power that they hold.
I'm gonna just do a shameless plug for a minute. I wrote an article on Medium about
Are
like
you mean Shameless, the show on Showtime?
no,
Or just
yeah, a
shamelessly?
shameless, like
Okay.
shamelessly promote myself.
Because I'm like, that's my show if we're talking about Shameless.
No, I'm gonna shamelessly promote myself for a second because
Okay.
I wrote this article on Medium, and it's talking about literally what you're talking about. Kinda, it's like how we need like the article basically was saying like corporations need to stop asking for our help for the most part because they are the ones that take everything like all they are take everything from this country and other countries and don't do anything like substance for the people.
Substantially, they don't. They really don't. They don't have that um purposeful, impact that they should,
Right.
on everyday people's lives, because every day people are giving to these corporations willingly and unwillingly,
Mm-hmm.
and I think of the small farmers, who had to pay out to Monsanto because their corn seed blew over from the winds to their
Right.
farm, and now they're having to pay a corporation that they shouldn't even have to be dealing with. It's just,
Exactly.
there are so many ways that corporations are able to work around regulation where a human can't.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go fishing on the pier without a license, but the corporation can go fishing out in the waters without one. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Right.
they can deplete, sea life at an astronomical rate to where we should be worried about it right now. But are they being held accountable for it? No, because
Absolutely
people
not.
love fried fish. People love fish sticks.
Yeah.
That's not an excuse. We
Right.
can't have all these unsustainable systems, and
Uh-huh.
capitalism is an unsustainable system.
Yeah, because it's literally built on profit and an exponential growth of that profit, and
Exactly.
you cannot have exponential growth in the finite world. You know what I
Well,
mean? That does not make sense.
the funny thing about our finite world is it's not as finite as we love to believe, because we're based on a fiat money currency system,
Hmm.
so we can, I'm not saying that we're going to break down our complete GDP by printing money, but we could.
We could, like, but that would do a lot of weird stuff with that, the
But
economy stuff
and
like
they
that. But we
have done
could.
it before,
Yes, and what's
like,
his name? I think his name was Andrew. Who's the person after the link? I think it was Andrew Jackson. He
yes.
created the greenback, and he just got rid of the United States dollar and did his own currency. It was like, oh, we're no longer poor anymore. You know what I mean? So it's like
And
there's
but,
so
but
many
but
systems.
Federal Reserves hold that power.
Right?
They
Yeah.
do hold that power. So when you have someone like a country that has so much power based on capitalism,
Mhm.
you have to find a way to hone it back. And that's supposed to be government regulation. And
Yeah.
government regulation has not worked for the people to hone back on the capitalist corporations that really take
Mhm.
advantage of the system.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm gonna be straight up. I'm a communist through and through. Like, I am a communist
Okay,
through and
what
through.
kind of communist? Are you a Marxist? Are you
Right.
a
So I would say I'm a anarcho communist. Like I'm an
okay?
anarchist and a communist because
Okay.
I don't really believe in like I believe in the economic policies of communism. I don't necessarily believe in like the political and like state structure of communism. I think a lot of when people say like the state structure of communism, which is very true, is very it can turn into like dictatory or like
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
totalitarianism.
Yeah.
It can get weird.
It's a fine line between doing good for all and making everybody do everything. Like,
Right.
it's a real fine line between that. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I want you to understand that when these other countries have communism, they don't have the structure or like the infrastructure that we do. You know what I'm saying? So for us to even try to implement communism, it's a little too late. You know, we've already fought the wars over what our economic structure should be. So unless you're ready to fight another war, you know, change.
Well, could you say this? Could you say this? This is my thing about it. I feel like communism in today's society is such a dirty word to say to a lot of people. To like the Angela Davises of the world and people like that. She'd be like, oh, I'm a communist, I'm proud of it. But like to a lot of people who grew up hearing that, oh, you dirty commies and all this stuff, it's a bad thing to those types of people. So I think that we should change the language that we use. Not necessarily say just to pander to people, but I feel like we should.
Rhetoric is important. Rhetoric is where you start. It's where you start. But you have to be careful when you take away certain freedoms from people. You have to be careful when you.
Hi,
Chloe. Chloe, this is Dante. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, go on, baby. I gotta go. I'm working. Mommy's working. Okay. So, yep, lost train of thought. That happened. These kids.
You said we got to you got to be careful when we change systems to different.
You do have to be careful when you change systems, because that's when a lot of as we can see, even with this whole Trump thing, insurrections and rebellions and uprisings and civil unrest begin. That's when all that stuff really starts. Is when you try to change systems, and when. Would you like my phone? Okay.
you got to do something so that they like are preoccupied somewhere. I got like 1,000 nieces and nephews, and my youngest nephew Buddha, he is a trip. He is.
What is a trip? Is he wild like this one? Because I'm telling you.
Yes, pretty much.
They're all wild in their own way, and they all get their way in their own way. And that's kind of what capitalism is, working with a toddler. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get my way regardless. I don't care who the losers are. I don't care what the losers lose. And it's my way or the highway, because capitalism rules. You know? And what really bothers me about capitalism is the way that it's really formed our social structures. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It has really changed us socially to where we really don't think about others in such a...
Like a community.
A commonwealth. I was going to say commonwealth. Like the wealth of the people, where we would work together, where we would have a unified front on that end of having our economics together. You know, not... You know, pooling economics, I get you. I like that communist idea, you know, but at the end of the day, it never would work for America.
I disagree. The reason why I disagree is because I feel like a lot of people already operate. Not a lot of people, but
a lot of cultures do operate within that own communism, that own. Okay, let's talk about the dollar circulation. You know, the dollar circulation within certain subcultures circulates longer than it does within the black community.
In the black community,
The black community dollar don't last not even a second. It lasts. I think it maybe lasts 7 seconds to 7 minutes, something around there. I'm not quite sure, but I know that it doesn't circulate weeks, months, years. If we can just get circulation within, you know, the circulation of our own dollar, then we might have, you know, an idea better on capitalism, because nobody has a problem with capitalism unless you're at the bottom.
But that's the point though, right? Because there's always going to be somebody at the bottom, in my opinion, with capitalism anyway. Because we're like, no matter if you're like try to do stuff ethically, like buy ethical, like food sources or clothing or anything like that, there's always going to be some type of exploitation going on, where somebody in another country has to make your clothes for a not a living wage. You know what I mean? And we don't see that as Americans because it's done somewhere else. But if it was done like right in our backyard, we would have to confront this capitalist structure and say something is not right, right? So I feel like while we can say that capitalism does do some good things, which I'm not going to deny it doesn't, but overall,
No, overall, it is a destructive system.
yeah,
Overall, it is made for a winner. It is made for a loser. Overall, it is a pyramid. But also, I just want to go on like a small tangent. If
okay,
we learn to work without the pyramid structure, with I'm at the top, I only mess with the bottom. When I mess with the bottom, you're at the bottom, you'll never make it to the top. If we change
right,
the structure in which we think of things in being something organic, like branching systems, to where like we have a whole main core and everything works out, or we can
okay,
do like a circular system where
yeah,
everyone, whomever is the poorest, stays on the inside towards the monetary gain, and whoever is the richest stays on the outside, less away from the opportunities of the monetary gain. Like working your way back in, like it's a system of balance. We don't
right,
have that balance, and
yeah.
capitalism doesn't create that balance.
Yeah, I like to see when I criticize capitalism. I'm the type of person where I do a lot of research on it too. I'm in school I go to school for sociology and women's and ethnic studies.
And
So
congratulations on that. I'm so proud of you. That's so amazing.
yeah,
College
thank you.
collegiate accolades. That's what it was all for.
Right, that's what I got to tell myself in the back of my head. Like I did all of that just
That's
to get a good education off
that's
on the
what it
back.
was all for. You have to
Yeah,
remember what we did it for.
right. But I like to study a lot of like alternatives to capitalism, and I like to study like different communities within the United States too. There's a place called Cooperation Jackson in Jackson, Mississippi, where they created like little, I want to call it not federations because it's not that large, but like I'm gonna say federations just because I don't know another word, but like little federations where they have like a central hub where they make like all types of food, that they do their own farming, and then they have like another hub where they do like clothes and stuff like that, and they go out to different communities and they spread that out through the community, right, through different communities, whoever needs it.
You know
And I
what it
feel like
reminds me
those,
of? That reminds me of this fence in Ferndale, right? Okay, there's a
okay,
fence in Ferndale where every year this organization comes and they hang hats and gloves on the fence for the homeless people. Like
that's
I
super
think
nice.
I mean, like those types of ideas of
Yeah,
spreading out resources for
mm-hmm.
free without even like, nobody has to know your name, nobody has to know that you
Yeah,
need a hat, nobody has to know your address. Like, I
mm-hmm.
love those ideas of being able to
Mm-hmm.
spread.
That's true solidarity. That's true solidarity, and that's not. And what I like to say is like I don't believe in charity. I believe in mutual aid. That is to me
I
what
believe
mutual
in
aid is.
cooperative economics. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I believe if it works for you, it can work for me, and we can work together.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If
I truly believe that. Like, and I like that you said that. Like, it's about resources, right? It's about if everybody had the resources to have a sustainable life,
Yes.
then in my opinion, capitalism would be no more. Because
No.
it's all about resource. Because all we do, the capitalism is the exchange for profit, right?
No,
But if
the
everybody had the
capitalism is the
resources,
supply and demand. If you
but
get
it's
rid of
also the exchange for profit
right,
that
but I mean
drives it.
that's where the profit comes in. But if you get rid
Mhm.
of the demand, you don't need, your supply will be fine. Your supply
Right.
will stay steady. You won't have these influxes of supplies and defluxes of
But
supply.
could you also argue that capitalists drive the demand?
Of course.
So,
That's
that's what I'm
profit
saying.
margins. Of
Yeah.
course. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
there's planned obsolescence in
Mm.
everything that is made now. Like
Yeah.
there's no way that a corporation is gonna make you something that's gonna last for 3 years.
Right.
They don't
I
even
know Stokely
they
Carmichael was talking
want
about that. Yeah. Stokely Carmichael was saying that a car built in this was a long time he did the interview, obviously, but he was like, but he was like, a car built in 1920s was made better than a car made in the 1960s, and that's very true.
and being from here, them cars get made worse and worse and worse, and that's
Yeah.
why we have all those automobile accident deaths. because the cars are not made, they're made for obsolescence. And really, I hate to call out a company, but I must call out the conglomerate Apple. They have really taken obsolescence to a whole new game. Like they done upped the game on obsolescence. This iPhone series is killing it.
It is killing the game.
I don't even know what number we're on now. I think it's 85. Like,
right. It's
and
85.
then they're using Roman numerals to really confuse us. Like, okay,
yeah, like which one is that one again?
it's the X. I know it's the X. Okay. I want it because it's new, and that's our attitude. That's our attitudes towards people. That's our attitude towards our nourishment. That's our attitude towards our children. That's our attitude towards our families. That's our attitude towards our friends. New. If it's not new, it ain't good.
Right. And I like, and to tie it into what you were saying earlier about how capitalism has like insidiously infected like every portion of our lives. That's kind of what it is. It's like that individualism and that always wanting something novel. You know what I mean? Like, even though the old thing is just as good or probably better,
it's not better.
Yeah.
And there's so much loyalty to things that like hold no value over us. Like, I'm loyal to my toothpaste brand, but like toothpaste, and those corporations, they feed off that emotion that we have. We're humans. We emotionally buy things. Americans rarely buy for necessity. It's just it's not a thing. The corona pandemic showed us that they didn't need all the damn tissue.
Right. They just wanted it because they were scared. And that's the thing too that be really pissing me off, is that like, I think that within our capitalist system, right, it tells people that if I don't have it, somebody else is going to have all of it. And it's like this scarcity mentality. And I'm so tired of this scarcity
drives mentality. The market.
Yes,
scarcity drives the market. There's no way. And uncertainty drives the market down. So like, scarcity is and uncertainty, like, we don't know what's going on, but we know it's a little bit, like there are methods to this madness, and people with good business acumen, you know what I'm saying? They tend to be the shark in the room, the cold-blooded, the swim nonstop, the meticulous, the calculated, like, and that's who wins, is the shark.
Would you say that there's an ethical business person? Like, can you be a business person and truly be for the people?
You ready? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I have an example.
Okay.
Colette's Cookies. She is a woman who owns a bakery, right? And she has Down syndrome, and she hires only people with disabilities. And there was a black vet on there, and he was saying, I have such bad anxiety. This was the first job that anybody that has ever offered me that I was able to work. So I think that entrepreneurs, and small businesses really drive that aspect.
Okay.
You want to talk about large corporations and globalism, or the way that they try to put everything on the map everywhere. You remember going to them countries, seeing McDonald's, like,
the McDonald's is here of everything.
Why is Popeyes on Kadena? Who knows? Like, I don't know why. Like, I don't understand, so like, just small things like that, they show you they show you who they really are. The large corporations are not for the people. The small businesses are.
So, okay, so what would you tell, because my opinion is I think black people should divorce themselves of capitalism, and we need to create new structures that suit us, because in my opinion, capitalism has never
We're not gonna win without reparations.
For us.
We ain't gonna win without reparations, but I'm not gonna leave this system till I get my money. Okay, so I was born into this. I'm getting my money one way or another. I am the generation that will be reparated. You know, there will be money exchanging hands during my lifetime because I'm fighting for it, just like those before me fought for it. I'm not going to step outside the system. So just like a woman who don't want to get divorced because she's scared what the husband gonna do with the next one. Okay, she's ready to move on, she's ready to start a new life, but she's so afraid that whatever that new life with that new woman and him is, that's me.
Right. Okay.
I'm ready to stick it out and get my money.
So, but what would you say to somebody that like to
honestly, I don't have a system that really competes with the opportunistic value that capitalism brings. You know, that's why there are so many people all over the world that want to come to America because of the opportunities that capitalism drives. You know, I can't get rid of the fact that you can get a job here, whereas you don't have those opportunities elsewhere.
Right. Well, I mean, I will argue the opposite. I think you can get a job somewhere else. It ain't gonna be good. You might be it might be like the shittiest working conditions, but you can get a job.
You're not talking my language. I'm an American. I like first world problems. Okay, like you gotta talk my language. Okay, we gotta stay on because you can't lower your standard of living because you want something different. Black people aren't going to accept that I can't go buy my Newports and hang out at the store because capitalism dead. Hell no, I want my Newports.
That's true. Marcuse said, "It's
and I hate to use
philosopher
as an example, but I'm in love with them myself, so I'm just personally."
No, I smoke Newports every now and then. So,
we good.
I quit like every night. You know what I mean? But like,
only when I sleep. You know,
only when I sleep.
You better smoke it if you gotta.
You're right. Shit. But
honestly, Dante, that was the one that hit me to the core. It hit me to the core. It was like, this is the one. If you got him, you better smoke him. I'm like, well, I got him. I'm ready.
I got him. I'm gonna smoke him. Shoot. I don't know. I truly do think that we can build communities based on our self-interest. Like we can build like what
type of community are you because when you say community, you also have to remember you can only let in certain types of people, you know, then you become
so this is what I mean by that. Like you can literally start on the literal community level, right? If people in your that surround you, your house, right, let's say 100 houses, 100, just to keep it even, 100 houses start to do a community garden. And then some people want to have like businesses, like clothing businesses or anything like that. You can be self-sustained within that community because you have clothing, you have security.
You know what those are called? Do you know what those are called?
I know them as intentional communities. I don't know.
Intentional communities. There's also another older term.
Communes.
You hit it on the head. I mean, those communes, you just have to be careful with the communes.
Right, because it can get very culty.
It can get so culty, and then you have to think about all the sex aspect of things. You know, people have to have freedom of choice, and then when you have all integrated communities, there's less choice. So you know, you have to think of factors of race. But
my idea goes beyond just like community level. I'm sorry.
Crime, rape. You have
crime. To. Yeah. I mean, it goes like the idea kind of goes beyond just like the community, right? That's where I feel like we can start, but you can branch out too. You can build like coalitions and. You know what I mean? Cooperatives with other communities so that you can make sure that you have the resources that you need everywhere and that everybody is having diverse thought coming in and out because you don't want everybody to just be one track minded. You need diversity in thought. You need diversity in people. It just makes society way better, in my opinion. And I feel like that's what we need. I feel like we need to just start on the community level just so that we can know it can work. and then branch out into a larger, larger
What you
community.
gonna call your commune, Dante? What you gonna call it?
I don't know. I haven't thought of it yet. I'm the idea is still in my head.
Okay, well, I'm with Black Man's Land. I'm with Black Woman's Land. I'm with the new Panther Party place. Okay, I'm just throwing you some names out and catching
Yeah,
they
yeah,
catch
yeah.
you. They might catch you.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
got you.
Uni-
We're gonna
United
be
States
brainstorming
Submarine
this.
niggas. You know what I'm talking about. I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
I grew out of my Catholicism when I probably was in college, maybe 23, 24, around that age.
Mhm.
When did
So
you?
so so and you said you're just like this militant atheist now.
Oh no, I'm a militant atheist. I believe
Militant
in,
atheist,
yes,
yes.
yes, I believe in atheists as like a militant way of fighting the system of oppression created by religion.
Oh, first of all, yes, to everything you said. Everything you said, yes. But I was saying that I used to be a very militant atheist up until like even in the Marine Corps. I even my best friend, his name is Brett. I
Shout
even
out to Brett.
shout out to Brett. I even turned him into an atheist in the military.
Isn't that
He,
is no, but isn't that the thing? The atheism will turn another religious person into an atheist or an enemy. That's it. That's the only two
yeah,
you get. You either get an
yes,
enemy or you get another atheist.
that's very true. And to me, I'm gonna be a little of an asshole when I say this, but I feel like if you are incapable of like really challenging yourself in whatever belief you have, then you lack some sort of intellectual nuance. I think that's the best way I can put that. You lack intellectual nuance, and I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Really, because when you learn the history of religions, they don't go back far enough for them to make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like the human construct of God is just the whole thing that breaks me down.
Right.
Like humans created everything. Like I got that part, but where you get this God part from? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I
But
had so
I
many
will say,
philosophical debates with my own family over this. My own family, and becoming an atheist older, I think, really affected them because they thought that I was kidding, or I was just
mhm,
angry, or depressed, or something was going wrong with me, and not that was just my ideological mind changing.
right, right. Yeah. Like I don't think that like a lot of people can come to grips, especially like because people seem like when you're older, you're already set in your ways or set on track to being set in your ways. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
like
hard for
you
people
have to
to,
keep following that same pathway.
yes, yes. And I think when people see you do like a total 180 in their mind, it's like to you, like, no, this is like my natural progression of like learning new stuff. So it's not a 180, it's just a natural learning progression.
Okay,
Um,
while you're in college, have you taken an anthropology class yet?
yes, I have taken an anthropology
Did you
class.
enjoy it?
I did. It was like I debated because I'm doing a double major right now, and I debated anthropology being one of them, but I didn't have enough credits to really do it.
Don't go into anthropology. They make no money. Okay,
Yeah,
anthropologists make no money.
yeah. I only like it for the research aspect and
No,
like going around the world.
the research aspect totally. And if you're one of those trash anthropologists that go through people's trash back in the day, like they make money. But besides
Okay.
that, you just gonna be an author trying to
Yeah,
get the book published.
yeah, yeah. No, I did anthropology. I did some religious classes as well too,
But
because
I've taken, and I was just gonna say that, like, I took anthropology first, and that's what really made me take a class on the Bible, and that's what
mhm,
made me take a class on witchcraft, and that's what made me take a class. I mean, like all these eclectic classes, but it was really just to find out like who's telling the truth and who's not.
mhm.
And it basically led me to believe that like this theistic view of the world is just bullshit.
It's total bullshit. It's total bullshit. But I will say this though, as a Taoist, as a radical Taoist, I would say to add
Stand
to
up.
that,
Stand
right?
up. Stand
As a
up.
radical Taoist, I would say that there are phenomena in the world that we can explain And I'm not necessarily saying it's God. You can say whatever it is, but like, for example, true, like love, for example, right? It's a human emotion that you can feel, but you don't know why. You know what I mean? And it
Yes, we
connects
do.
people.
No, we do know why. You know, they've done studies on love, and they've done brain studies on love, and there are serotonins and oxytocins, and there are chemical makeups in the brain when someone's in love, and there are endorphins released, and there are,
Mhm.
you know, hormones that are released, and adrenaline's pumping, and there are all these chemical reactions going on in your body. Like, oh, those are reasons. It's not
Yes,
unexplainable, but at the same time, like,
but I'm not saying that it's not unexplainable by science. But
oh, I'm
why?
a scientist. Sorry, I meant to tell you that, Dante. I'm a scientist. I believe in empirical evidence. So when you were like love, I'm like, oh, serotonin. What do we talk about? You know, like
Right? I'm a scientist too. I'm a social scientist, but
y'all don't count, okay? Chemistry all day over here. Y'all don't count.
hard science. See, that's your hard science people. I'm the soft science, as they like to call us.
No, I love sociology. Don't change your major. We
Yeah.
need
Oh no, I
to
love it.
study the groups and the patterns and the behaviors. We need
Yeah.
that because whatever happened on January 6th, we need
Is
some sociologists to come explain
to
whatever the
figure
heck that was, please.
literally. Honestly, just as a caveat to what we were just talking about, that can all be answered by white privilege, white supremacy. And if you don't get those two things, I urge all our viewers and listeners to crack open a book, read some books, or just watch some YouTube videos about white privilege and white power, because that Capitol storming was a pure example of white privilege and white supremacy. Um, and that's that's not all I'm gonna say about that, but that's where I'm gonna go with that.
I'm going to
Um,
say more to that
mhm.
because not only did the privilege happen, you know what I'm saying? There was so much leeway,
Mhm.
not just privilege, but leeway. You
Mhm.
know, there's so much open doors. You know, there's so many avenues that they were able to go through and cross thresholds that they can cross that we've not even begun to contemplate. And had
Right.
we contemplated those things, the FBI watch list would be so long with so many black people names. It would, and you know, knowing that some of these insurrectionists were on the FBI watch list,
Exactly.
what job are y'all doing to protect us against these white supremacists?
Right. Right. Nothing. And that's what it is. It's like, that's why I say it's white privilege, because a lot when people say it's like, because they have the privilege to do all of these things without the repercussions that a black person or any person of color would have. As a white
And
person
that's the
would have.
privilege. That's the
Hmm.
privilege. But
And
the supremacy side is what scares me. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, and I have heard you speak and not wanting to go down a slippery slope of calling, you know, these people domestic terrorists. And I know, you know, we know personally what terrorism really is. But
Right.
I'm gonna just say it from my civilian side, watching it on PBS NewsHour Live, I was terrified.
Hmm.
So if it produced terror in me and I ain't no punk,
Yeah. Right.
what do you think it did for the average citizen who doesn't understand military, you know,
Right.
tactics? You know,
Yeah.
I knew somebody was gonna die just by watching the crowd, you know?
Hmm.
And that is terrorism, to produce fear in people that aren't even there.
Hey, you know what else is really kind of bizarre to me is that, like, a lot of those people, because I've seen some videos where it was like, we're Marine Corps veterans and we fought for our whatever they were saying. And it was like, the scary part to me is that there are people who were either veterans or actively, I know there's probably some people that was active duty, that were there and claiming to be a patriot. Like, whether or not you believe in patriotism or whatever, they were claiming to be patriots, yet doing something that
So
is
unpatriotic.
so unpatriotic, and
So
it boggles my
treasonous.
mind.
So treasonous
Yeah.
because you can't take the election from the people.
Mm.
That's what Donald Trump was trying to do. There
Hmm.
was a vote. We did it. We counted it. It was done by mail-in ballot due to something that we've never seen on the face of the planet of the earth.
Right.
And we still got election done. We still got it done. You know what I'm saying? And that shows you American fortitude. If you can get past the pandemic to do these things, how is it that you can't get past your own ego?
Right. And those are just, I'm just blown away at how much our democracy, and even still at this point too, because I don't want to say like, oh, now that Biden's in office, that we can just chill and relax. Like, no, even at this point, our democracy is still, well, I don't want to say democracy. I hate saying democracy. Our republic is still hanging in the balance of
our democratic republic is fragile. Yes, it's very fragile. It's in a state of disarray right now. And speaking forward, you know, I think that Biden was a better choice over Donald Trump, of course. But speaking forward, I think that we need to demand transparency from our government. And I heard him say that in a speech tonight, that he will be honest with us, and I will hold him to that.
And I think, and this is why, as an anarchist, right? As an anarchist, I've always had I almost didn't vote this election, but I voted because I knew that there was more in stake than just my dogmatic view of what anarchism was, and I had to really not be so selfish.
You had to play the role of the patriot. You did.
Yes.
You did.
And so I think that what my fear is that a lot of people think that when you vote and you do the civic duty and all that good stuff, that you're done. And then the people that you voted in are the people responsible. But no, right?
No.
That's not the end all. That's not the end.
A lot of civilians, you know, and I say this, you know, because we're veterans, you know, a lot of civilians don't understand accountability.
Right. They don't.
So if you have no accountability for your actions, your life, your family, what you got going on, why in the world would you have accountability for your elected officials? Why would you care to have accountability for them? Most Americans don't have accountability for themselves, let alone for their elected officials.
But to not be so harsh on American citizens, which I love to do that, but not to be so harsh on them sometimes, is some people don't have the time to keep people accountable too. So, and that's why I kind of like to say both of those things. Like, we need to keep them accountable, but if you don't have time because you're trying to literally survive pandemics and all this types of stuff, like, that's okay. Take care of you first, because that's the most important thing. But if you have the time,
that's like a capitalistic view. Take care of you. Please, air mask over yourself first, then assist others.
Do the basics, you know what I mean?
I mean, do the basics, but also believe in the Commonwealth. You know what I mean? Yes. Like, believe in the people. We the people. There's a reason why those 3 words started it. You know what I'm saying? We the people. Not us sometimes when we get together when the money good. You know, like, it's we the people. And if we believe that we are a people and not Democrat, Republican, anarchist, anti-capitalist, anti-this, anti-that, anti-Trump support. If we, the people, learn to be United States of America, we will be fine. You know, united we stand and divided we fall.
And I get a lot of shit for this too. Like, my best friend, he talk about, because I'm always trying to, I watch so much like conservative stuff. I watch like PragerU, Prager University, like all these conservative stuff. He's like,
deep in it. Oh, you're deep in it.
I'm deep in it. He's like, why do you watch that stuff? Because I'm trying to, first of all, understand where they're coming from. Because I think a lot of stuff.
Your enemy.
Yes, and I think a lot of stuff stems from not understanding where people are coming from, not listening. So I like to listen to what they say, but also have a counter to something that I think they might be on board with. You know what I mean? Yeah. Bring them to some type of way we can come together. I feel like that's the main issue.
And really, you know, I watched the conservative right. I've always watched the conservative right because I believe they need a watchful eye on them. Not just because I want to change their minds or have like something to retort to them or anything. I am like a hawk. I want to know what they up to. I'm the CIA when it comes to the right.
Yeah.
Can't slip anything past me because I've already been informed myself, and that's another thing. Like, I've heard that people, like now this big boom of technology. When are people going to start doing their own research? When are people going to understand that you have to have peer reviewed,
And good research too.
that peer reviewed journal?
Yes.
You need something that somebody else with some expertise has backed up. There can't always be this, I read this on Facebook.
The Facebook University.
Oh my God, it's worse than prison university.
And that, to segue into that too, I want to talk about that and like education, right? Because I feel like that is also what we lack as a society as well. Because like some people aren't as privileged as you or I were to, first of all, go into the military and then go to college and all this good stuff. So we have a advantage over most people who don't really know how to do peer research or anything like that. And my goal as a sociologist and as a person in general is to break down those gates, those academic gates.
Those barriers, those academic gates, those hurdles are there for a reason.
You think so?
They are not there unintentionally.
Okay.
I believe that all the education missteps that our country has fallen into are really it was a pass the buck system for our kids. It was and I remember back in the day, George Bush, no child left behind. How many children have been left behind since that even was a thing? Like, our education system is so broken, and I personally, being a Detroit, Michigan resident, am very deeply upset at Betsy DeVos. Okay. I really think that she is the disgusting woman that should really understand the detriment that she did to the Detroit public school system when she introduced charter schools here, and how much they have ruined the public school system here. And it's just like, and they haven't provided any better educational system for our children. It's just disgusting, the for-profit. And I can understand if you make it for profit and the kids getting smarter and the intellect and the knowledge is getting to where it's supposed to go. But from what I've seen with these students, and I'm not blaming teachers at all. They don't create the curriculum. All they're to do is to teach it. I blame the board of the directors. I blame the people who are at the top. I blame the people who make the decisions for the teachers, because teachers barely even get unions now, and they're the ones. And even if we talk about just virtual, speaking from personal experience, my mother is an educator. She's a 4th grade teacher. She teaches for DPS, and she has 40 students this year.
Jeez. First of all, that's too much online or in person.
When she told me her school roster, I felt bad for her at a level that I'd never felt bad for my mother, who is the strongest Black woman I know. She raised me. And she is struggling with teaching 40 students virtually. And that's something that we have to address. We have to either supplement these teachers, get people that can teach some kids without having a degree, or we're going to have to get these teachers some more money to where they can be like, hey, Living Lavish got y'all lessons right here.
Right. Because it's like you said, it's not the teachers, it's the resources that aren't going into the right places. They need to go into the places that they need to go to, and they're not.
No.
And it's a sham. It's a shame.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Because the sham is what really plays out every day in these kids' lives. These kids have poor reading levels. These kids have terrible math levels. These kids don't understand science. They don't understand. They get technology.
Yeah.
But besides that,
that's. I mean, and I want us to. We just have to do better as a society, and that's just me, because I don't. And I know we always like to pick on ourselves the most, but like, I don't do nearly enough. I try to do what I can do to help, but like if we're not us as the people, United States of America, actively trying to, because we can, for example, put billions of dollars into military funding,
Right.
but
Is it going to the troops? Is it going to where it needs to go? Or
no, it's going to contractors. It's going to all this other stuff.
Exactly.
But to me, where you put your money shows me where you put your value, where you think value comes
where your
from.
intentions are. Put your money where your mouth is, and your mouth is displaying that intention that you have in your heart. You know, that throat chakra gonna get that heart chakra together. I'm not trying to talk like that, but you know, it's gonna get it together.
It's gonna get it together real quick. Man.
Okay.
So
atheistic views. I just want to lastly say that if we were going to believe in a God, why not make the black woman God? You know,
I have this perfect song that I really want you to listen to it. It talks about, it doesn't even talk about that, but it's by this dude named Child. It's CHILLLD, and it's called Back to Life. And it was like, you got to listen to it. If
Back to life, back to reality.
That's also a good song too. But it was talking about like if God was a woman, could she bring me back to life or something like that? It's a really good song.
Okay,
but like,
I'm gonna look it up. No worries, I'm gonna look it up.
But yeah, if God was to be real, I am 100% sure that it had to been of at least feminine energy. There's no because feminine energy is just so, and this might be, as a sociologist, hard to say, but like so nurturing, right? But and if we think of God as a person,
That's where you lost me, Dante. Okay, that's where you lost me.
Right, but I would envision God as like a nurturing, like, right? Because if all the good stuff that they talk about God is true.
No, but this human construct, like we always like, God's got to have his arms nailed to the cross, and God's got to starve for 30 days, and he don't eat.
Yeah.
God picked the apple and the fig tree died. And I mean, I understand the religious fables. I get that. You know, and I really do understand, but I just hate this idea. We're so egocentric as humans. Our aliens gotta look like us, our God gotta look like us. Like, look, everything ain't gonna have eyes, a nose, and a mouth.
Right. But why not though? I want my God to have a mouth. I want it to talk.
Because you're a human and that's how you think. Ego tripping. I want my God to hear me, so he gotta have ears. Like,
they got to. They gotta have arms so it can hug me at night.
Right, because I want to feel God's love. Like, why can't God just be the sun and it feel good when you stand in the sunlight? Like, why can't that be God? Like,
but that's what Taoism talks about. Okay. That's what Taoism talks about. It talks about like how everything in the universe is essentially one, and we're all connected in a weird type of cosmological way.
I feel you on that Big Bang shit. I feel you on that for real. Like, I really do. Like, I believe the Big Bang thing. And then, like, there's always a debate between my family and I. Well, who started the Big Bang? Like, well, come on now. Chemical reactions can start without something going on. Like,
exactly. But even if you don't even have to use that argument, you can be like, it's just. We know that there's infinite amount of numbers, right? So there could be an infinite amount of universes and infinite amount of galaxies that spawned another one, and all this. Like, science can answer those.
Are you talking about the multiverse theory?
Yes.
Okay, well, I love that theory. Do you think it's a bubble, or do you think that they're what do you think they're shaped like?
I don't think it's shaped like anything. I think it's shapeless, and that's why it works so well. I think that's why
for the cloud theory. So they're kind of like shapeless, like clouds. Okay. Yeah. I go for the bubble theory. I just think it's cool.
So what? The bubble theory as expanding type of deal?
No, bubble theory as in like different universes within bubbles. Like, and just imagine a whole bunch of bubbles, but each one is a universe. So like the bubble theory.
Okay.
It's just crazy theory scientists be like, well, we thought it was really hard, really long. Y'all better accept this shit. So
Right. I like the theory of like black holes. How they talk about like at the end of a black hole might be another universe.
yes, isn't
I
that
love that.
so intriguing? And how they just know, and how a black hole can be inside of a black hole, and then
Mm-hmm.
it like pulls on against it.
It's
All that stuff is pretty cool. Deep space
yeah,
is still
yeah.
scary though. I'm good right here on Earth. Okay, I'm not trying to go nowhere. I didn't mean it. I just meant like all the theories are cool, but
Right.
I like
But
the
I
ground.
don't really want to go out there. I'm
I
cool
don't
right here.
want to
Comfortable.
skydive. I don't want to snorkel.
Really.
I don't want to do none of that.
I want to skydive so bad. I'm terrified of the water.
I jumped out of the
So
Hilo when I was in,
really,
so I'm
all
good.
I did was the little
Little
rope.
Repel Tower. You
Yeah.
know the rich Repel Tower. Okay, you want to know a funny story about the Repel Tower?
Yeah.
I had a Marine, right? Her name was Lars, and she got stuck upside down at the very top. She
Oh
was
no.
touching the wall.
Oh no.
She's just
That
directly upside down, like fetal position, holding on. And them drill instructors didn't like that.
yeah. Like, what are you doing?
No, 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 no. They started shaking her. They started dropping the
No.
rope and pulling it, and she just, it
Just
was,
going on for dear life.
she went down the whole way head first, and they dropped her like they caught her a little bit, but they
Right.
dropped her. They
It's
they
like you
dropped
getting
her. Like, you can't get it together, you gonna fall.
you better do it again and right the next time, or you're gonna feel the same pain.
Oh my God, I never seen a girl cry that hard in my life. It was the funniest thing. It was the funniest thing.
Jeez, that's horrendous.
So,
I was terrified of.
good Rappel Tower story.
My rappel tower story was a dude did not do the break. You know how you gotta do the have your break. He just went straight down.
Oh,
They caught him. We
oh.
saw they caught him, but he didn't do the break, so he fell straight. Yeah, it was bad, but they caught him. I mean, luckily because they'd be right there at the
Yeah,
bottom.
they catch you kinda, but you be
But
hurt.
like, yeah, but first of all, that's kind of far. It's a far.
You know how far it is. You
Yeah.
know how far it is.
So
What is it, like 3 stories?
yeah, it's 3 stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you gonna be hurt. You're hurt regardless.
You're hurt regardless.
You're hurt before you even hit the ground. You're like, I know how much it's going.
You're hurt by the wind coming up from the ground.
It's coming up too fast. What's your? I want to know what's your funniest boot camp story?
Oh my God.
There's a lot of boot camp stories, and I got.
God. Okay, I'm ready for the boot camp story.
So
Okay.
we were on our online, right, waiting for it to like change or something like that, and this recruit, I think his name was Bry or something like that. Started with B, Bry.
Brides are always stupid, by the way.
Stupid. He was a stupid redhead white dude.
All the brides are stupid. Whoever our bride, you guys are stupid out there. Stop procreating.
We don't need it anymore. But he was online and he was just like, just sitting there, and all of a sudden he just peed himself, and the dresser was like, "What are you doing?" He was like, "Sir, this was like the first time like we got
okay.
right." So everybody was scared. Like, I didn't know what to do. And the dresser was like, I, because you can't say I. And
of course,
It was a nightmare, and everybody just made fun of him the whole time. It was kind of fucked up, but it was funny.
Okay, boot camp. Okay, I got one for you. So Marines are full of integrity, okay, all that good shit, right? But I wasn't a Marine yet. I was a recruit, okay?
Right.
Okay? Okay, and I'm skinny, I was skinny then, I'm skinny now. And we get into the chow hall line, and this black lady asked me, double rats? You double rations? And I'm like, yeah, I'm double rations.
I'm hungry.
A nigga can pass. So I had been getting double rats for like probably like a whole month, and then just so happened my guide got behind me in the chow hall line. She was like, "You're not double rats," white girl. "You're not double rats." And she was like, "I'm gonna tell the drill instructor." I was like,
Oh my
"Okay."
God, I hate them.
I was like, "Okay, no, tell the drill instructor, do what you gotta do. I ain't scared of you. I ain't scared of no drill instructor." So I went to her rack late at night, right? And I grabbed her blanket and I held her down and I was like, "Who you gonna tell again about this double rat?"
Ooh.
She was like, "I won't tell if you don't do it again." And I was like, "I won't do it again. We cool.
We good.
But you about to catch this smooth ass when you tell me, girl, you got the wrong one." I grabbed that blanket so hard and pulled, and I knew because you know the racks be tight. She couldn't go nowhere. I'm like, "No, who you gonna tell?" Sometimes you gotta threaten a motherfucker when you know you did it wrong. You gotta get it on them.
Right. Shit. I think I stole
So
from
that was the most
hall.
unintegrity thing. That was the most bad thing I did, but I was also hungry, and I didn't understand being hungry.
Yeah. Oh, especially like Marine Corps boot camp hungry is a different type of hungry too.
I didn't understand it, and when that black lady threw me a lifeline, she was like, "Here, honey, get you some more food."
She was looking out. First of all, the black lady, she was looking out. She was
knew
like,
I was skinny. She knew I wasn't gonna be able to survive.
Yeah. She was looking out, and then she was like, just get you a little something on the side too.
Oh, you better get you some double rats. I was eating good, and that white girl caught me, boy. I was in trouble. But she wasn't gonna tell on me though. I don't believe in that one.
Right. Yeah. I'm so done. I always tell people I would go through another month of boot camp if I never had to do MCT. I hated MCT. I hated it. It was a lot of I thought of MCT as like going into the shittiest amusement park.
I loved MCT. That was my best time in the Marine Corps. I think about it all the time. I love being in the field. I like getting dirty. I like sleeping in foxholes. I love all that shit.
It was too hot, and we had full gear on.
Yeah.
Just waiting for hours to shoot.
I know.
M240 for a second.
I know for like 5 seconds, but it was so cool, so bad. Okay, so like I had a very impressionable sergeant at the time. His name was Sergeant Ashley. I'll never forget this guy, right? Mm-hmm. And MCT is fucking hard, okay? And we're standing there, and I'm in the perimeter, my hand on my rifle. I'm knocked the fuck out, okay? Like, I was tired. We had dug foxholes all day. I'm on my rifle, and I'm drooling on the ground. The drool was in the leaf on the ground. I'm asleep. And instead of, like really jumping on me and, he just get down low and he tell me, "Marine, you're dead."
Ooh. You're dead right now. Don't move.
You're dead. You have no situational awareness. Get your ass up and get in formation. And the whole formation had been lined up waiting for my sleep ass. And my God. I'm in the prone. I'm doing good. I'm in the prone. I'm asleep.
That is, first of all, that's the most embarrassing thing ever. To just wake up like, oh shit, I'm alone.
I'm the one that fucked up this time.
That is so funny.
In the perimeter. I'm talking about I'm on the firing line. Like, it is my job, and I'm knocked the fuck out. Cheek well, perfect cheek well, just drool and sleep.
Jeez. That also the lack of sleep. Like in classes, you would see people just baby necking all day. Just
it makes me want to like choke the crap out of them. Like, you don't know sleep deprivation. Like, oh my God, like I cannot stand. And going back to college, I was so jaded at my other my fellow students, because they would always baby and cry about certain things, and I'm just like, just turn the fucking paper in on time. Like,
Yeah.
what are you crying about? Like, their life is so
Yeah.
much harder than this. Like, this civilian life is so easy. You got it easy. Like, count yourself easy. And I know you being younger than myself and joining before, after I did, we used to always, rag on the young Marines, like, y'all got it so easy, y'all,
Yeah.
got it so easy. And then I remember, my higher ups and those above me that came before me were y'all just some soft Marines, y'all so soft, and and that's always the perpetual cycle, though.
Yeah. And I had met a 3-star general. We had it was like a whole bunch of us at lunch or something like that, and he was saying that like, oh yeah, the Marines, they always talk about like Marines are like softer, and he was like, but I don't think that's a bad thing, because like generations like myself and generations before y'all made it so that y'all don't have to go through the shit that we had to go through.
That's real, and that was
the realest thing I ever heard. So like, as a
really
3-star
real.
general, that was the
No,
realest
for
thing.
real, because Brig didn't have to say that. You know what I'm saying? He ain't have to go there, and he went there. Because I remember one time, okay, I was a little troublemaker. I was a little troublemaker. I went into the fleet as a private.
Okay.
So
Oh, okay.
I'm a little troublemaker, And we have a safety stand down, and this full-bird colonel walks up to me, and white dude, I short, just old little crusty little colonel, right?
Yeah.
And he turns to me and he said, "Are you a bona fide private?"
A bona fide. Not a bona fide private.
And I'm a smart ass, like, through and through. So I'm like, they still make those in the Marine Corps, sir.
Ooh.
And I never felt a hand on my neck and like the snatch of my collar so fast. My sergeant was like, it was like a retraction, like he retracted the statement for me. It was like, they still make those in the Marine Corps, sir. Like, he's like, don't you ever fucking talk to a full-bird colonel like that. If you lost your fucking mind, you motherfucker, you fucking cut your goddamn collar off. I'm like, what can you do to me? I'm the lowest on the low. Like,
you made me a recruit again. You can't do that no more.
This motherfucker was like, "Are you really a bona fide private?" I was like, "They still make those? The fuck you talking about? Like, that's a rank in the Marine Corps."
I bet you that colonel thought that was hilarious, but he just couldn't really probably
cracked up, dying laughing. He thought it was the funniest shit he'd ever heard. I'm watching him as I'm going back, like, oh, at least he got the joke.
Like, I made him laugh though. I made him laugh. What's that word? Give me my
He ain't gonna forget this private. That's all I can say. Okay, he wasn't gonna forget that one. That one was a good one.
Yeah. Jeez.
Okay, what is the one thing that you would say that you miss about the Marine Corps?
I miss the camaraderie, and when I say that, not really.
I know, right?
I miss that because I think you don't get that in civilian world as heavy as you do in the military.
I won't say as heavy as much, just as often,
Right.